Art's Essential, an examination of art's impact on our society, hosted by Holly Wagner. Art's essential to communicate, to give a voice, to help heal, for a sense of self, for a sense of community, to impact our society. Art's essential to the human existence. Sponsored by the McMinnville Center for the Arts and the Arts Alliance of Yamhill County. Hello and welcome to Art's Essential. Thank you for joining us. On our show, we will examine the influence of art in our society, and we will talk with people that influence it. I'm your host, Holly Wagner, and today I have the privilege of having on our show Phil Guzzo.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you very much for joining.
Sure.
So Phil.
Yes.
You are a man of many hats.
Yes.
So I have here, how I met you actually was through the MCM.
Right.
And you're a video specialist, you
Yep.
are a trainer, and you are responsible for community outreach, which is really awesome because I know
Yep.
you've done a lot of stuff and we will get there.
Okay.
There's just this long list everywhere I looked of things that you've done, director, editor, actor, writer,
Do tell.
producer,
Where are these
comic
lists?
artist, media production, animation, special effects, sound design. I mean, you've got a list longer than my arm. So that's very, very impressive. Let's start with how you got into all of this. I saw that you have a master's in theater.
Yeah.
And then you went to
Yes.
Humboldt State.
Well, you did do some digging.
I did do digging, yeah.
Yes, I have a
Yeah.
I have a master's from Humboldt State. I have an undergrad in broadcasting from University of Wyoming, which I started, and I wanted to make films back then, and I wanted to be a director like everybody. So I pursued a lot of filmmaking on my own, and then eventually I decided I probably needed some training at it. So the closest thing they had at the University of Wyoming was broadcasting. So I went into the broadcasting department there, learned a lot of things. This is where I've really got my base skills in filmmaking and video production was there, because that program was really kind of neat. Because basically, as a student, you were part of the crew on most of the shoots, and you really got a hands-on training. And then at a certain point, I decided I needed to go to film school, and I wasn't really making the progress I had wanted in Wyoming, and there wasn't a lot of opportunity to do that kind of work. I had tried to set up a couple of my own film productions, and they never quite worked, and I wasn't quite mature enough to really understand on how to make those things happen. So I went to film school at Humboldt State. They were one of the few accessible graduate programs in film, because we couldn't afford UCLA or USC education at that time.
Are you from Wyoming?
I'm from Wyoming, yes.
your home?
That's my home state. It was where I grew
Okay.
up, born there.
Great.
So I went to Humboldt State and got an MFA in film there, which was really an interesting place to get an MFA. It was a very theater-oriented school in the arts department, and so I got a dose of theater. I had done a lot of theater at Wyoming too,
Right.
feeling like if I was going to be a director, I really wanted to know how actors worked and
Right.
how to act and all that. So did a
Yeah,
lot of that
actually,
stuff.
I saw somewhere that I was watching a few interviews of you that you've done before, and where you've been both in print and on video. So I did a little research, and I loved the statement that you made that you studied acting to be a better writer by
Yes.
visualizing the characters acting out their role.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, and that is how I write. I am basically transcribing a scene happening in my head as the characters acted out.
So you see them.
I see
in
them
your
and I
mind's
hear
eye.
them, and I'm just
awesome.
copying it down,
You're
essentially.
I love
Basically,
that.
I'm just copying what I'm hearing and seeing.
I've
So-
actually heard a writer quote and say that, you know, they thought the direction that the characters were going to go is one way, and they decided.
Yes,
They were
they'll
going
take a
that way.
left, or
Yeah.
they'll crack jokes, or
Right.
they'll do something, and you're like, wait a minute, wait, I was going over here, and we're going over here, and it's really a weird experience, but it's kind of a really freeing, invigorating experience too. It really feels like you're connecting to something when you get to that point in your writing. So-
That's very interesting that, like, it is still your brain that's producing it all,
Yeah.
and yet your brain has like an inner voice that makes
Yeah, I
different
think
decisions.
I think we're tuning into something in the universe that is resonating. I think stories are universal to the universe, and I think I swear it feels like you're tuning into something different, and it feels like you're not writing it. And I think a lot of authors I've heard talk that's how they feel. It's like they're not writing it. It's just like happening
Right.
almost.
My mother,
Not quite automatic typing, but it's like,
yeah, my mother always told me don't always believe what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
that
it makes
kind
perfect
of-
sense.
Yeah, that kind of it sounds like it's
Yeah.
amplified in what
Yeah.
you do in the writings. So I saw that you worked for the Will Vintner Studios.
Will Vinton?
Vinton, I'm sorry, I wrote it
The
wrong.
vintner is down here
Vintner.
with the wines.
Right, that's right, of course.
It makes sense.
Of
But
course.
yes, it's Will Vinton Studios.
Yeah, and so how did you end up in Portland?
Well, I went to film school, like I said, at Humboldt State, which was in California, and then after graduating there, I stayed in the area and worked in video production because there were several. For such a small area, there were like 5 or 6 TV stations in that area.
Interesting.
So I worked at a number of them. Started at Cox Cable and went to CBS, and then was at Fox for a while. But yeah, I decided again. I made a decision that I needed to move beyond my current situation if I wanted to pursue filmmaking more. And I decided I was either going to go to. I think at that point I had maybe settled more on special effects and visual effects. And so I had decided on either going to Lucasfilm. I was going to go down to San Francisco and try to get a job at Industrial Light and Magic,
Right.
or I'd go to Portland and work at Will Vinton Studios. I had friends that moved to Portland before I did, and so I figured it'd be a lot easier to navigate a city, and if I had a little bit of a support structure
Sure.
there. Whereas in San Francisco, I didn't really know anybody.
What was your favorite project at that studio?
At Will Vinton's,
Uh-huh.
definitely the PJs. Working on the TV show The PJs.
Yeah, and that was actually for Fox as well, right?
Yeah, that was for Fox Television. Yeah, it was an Eddie Murphy produced, written by the guys that did In Living Color, and directed by a whole host of actually well-known directors.
And what did you actually do on the PJs?
I was a compositor.
Yeah, so I had that as a question. on
Yes,
my-
actually, I started out as just working in the tape room, duplicating tapes, but then I was asked by the compositor that was on the show to be a compositor, and basically compositing is you take all the elements that make up a shot, because they don't shoot everything all at the same time. Like they'll shoot a foreground
Right.
separate from the background, separate from special effects, and then a compositor takes all those things and combines them into one shot. So we do the green screen removal, put the puppets on the background, add some whatever effects need to happen. The other big thing I did as a compositor was fixing things, because a lot of times the animators, as they were animating, would forget little tools and things on the miniature sets. And so as you watched it, you'd see these tools popping all over the set. And so you had to go in and paint out when there was things like that, or if there was a rod that had the puppet suspended in air.
Paint out, so you're saying that like there would be a panel of a shot, and you'd literally go in and physically paint it out?
At times, if you had to, but usually what you would do is you could use the information in the frame before, which may not have the same thing in it,
Right.
and then use that to paint over the next frame.
Oh.
So it's a lot like Photoshop. It's kind of like using Photoshop with the clone tool.
Okay, got
But
it.
all over motion, so you have to use different techniques.
Interesting.
Because if you do paint by hand, oftentimes you will see things jittering because you can't be exact.
Right. I just think you made me think of the Starbucks cup in the ending of
Game of
in
Thrones.
the Game
Yes,
of Thrones.
that's exactly what they did. They
I mean,
probably
like-
they took a piece that wasn't there and they painted it, or they painted it out and then composited over several frames.
How fun, though. How
Yeah.
fun.
It was a fun show to work on. It was really interesting to get all the shots.
Very
and
cool.
See that.
And then I actually saw and watched a little bit of Gary and Mike,
Yes.
which was that also through the studio?
Yes, that was also Will Vinton Studios.
Okay.
And I wasn't on the official crew, but I did help out when they ran into crunch times. I would help them out with shots and stuff.
Excellent. And I saw Slacker Cats. I mean, I was like
Yes.
playing around with all these different, just looking at all these different things. So your IMDb has a pretty long credit list, which is
Yes.
pretty cool. The Macklar Anyone?
Right.
question mark.
Yes.
That was fun. I like that the main character. Please excuse me. I'm having allergies in my right
Oh.
eye. That's why I keep taking my glasses
Oh,
off.
I see. Yes, it's that time of year.
Yeah, I love that the main character was the hero kind of thing, was the woman kind
Yes.
of least expected. Anyway, so and Angela Guzzo
My wife. Yeah.
was the writer.
Yes.
I assumed it was your wife. I didn't dive too deep into.
No.
your
Yes. No. She wrote that. Yes.
That's very
so
cool.
that was awesome. That was for there was a thing called the Duke City Shootout back then, and basically you could submit a script, and if they picked your script, then you would be flown out to Albuquerque. It was in Albuquerque, and they'd give you a crew, and you could make your film. You had a week to make the film, and then all the filmmakers competed at the end of the week for festival prizes.
How
So
fun.
it was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
And so, did they supply the actors for you as well?
Yes, they sent you
They
audition
picked all of
tapes,
it?
all that.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore, but it was a really neat, unique opportunity.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes.
And it actually won the audience award, the audience best pick or award
Yes,
in 2007.
Yes, at the Seattle Sci-Fi
Sci-fi short
Film Festival.
Right, the huge
which was
one.
part of the Seattle Film Festival, but it was a little offshoot of it.
Right. That's very cool. And then I saw Donut Time as
Oh, yes,
well,
Donut Time.
which was filmed at our 10 Oaks before at
Yes,
10
when it
Oaks
was
before-
movie time.
When it was movie time.
Yes.
That was really fun.
Oh, good.
I enjoyed that one a lot.
Oh, good.
I thought that was really, really well done. And I thought that just the premise of the, kind of playing around with the time travel
Yes.
was really interesting.
Yes, that was all my wife too. She has the
Really?
best. She has the good ideas, and I just steal them.
Really?
Yes, that was her. It was actually a dream she had, and then we kind of talked it through, and it went through various iterations. And she had an outline, and then I wrote a feature film script, which was set in an office. It was kind of like office space with time travel. But then I knew Dan and Nancy, and I had wanted to make a film there, and so I just thought setting it at a video store seemed like it made a lot of sense too.
That's very
So
cool.
I made a short version of it. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And I love how there was the film festival poster all over the place.
Yes.
It was everywhere. I kept saying, "Oh, there's another poster. There's another poster."
Yes.
It was awesome. It was like had these little promo or kind of little
Yes.
subliminal, "Hey, check us out." And the Short Film Festival is actually coming up next week.
Yes, it is. It is.
So, or actually 2 weekends from now.
Uh-huh.
It's the following week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about being a comic artist.
Yeah.
You did a Christmas cookbook.
Oh well, that one I did. I would say it was a Christmas mandala coloring book, actually.
Oh, coloring book.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm working on my wife and I are working on a cookbook, but this was just a coloring book. I had done a bunch of mandalas, and they were turning out so neat. We decided to put it into do like a Advent kind of calendar, but in a coloring book form.
How fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah,
cool.
it was neat.
Okay, so now we've gone down memory lane.
Right, now
we've done all
yes,
of
enough
that fun
enough about
stuff.
me.
No, I know. That's
Or
why
it's all
we're
about
here.
me.
It's all about you. That's right. So I know that you were on A Writer's Life just 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and
Uh-huh.
you talked a lot about the Saturday Film Group.
Yeah.
But maybe you could just sort of, you helped to establish it in 2016. And
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about it here?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a group I wanted to start because I wanted to give people an opportunity to kind of work through a real kind of filmmaking experience, or closer to real. I mean, all the filmmaking experiences you have are real, but I mean more of a professional production style, or get to experience the different aspects of filmmaking, like camera and that, and actually working on a project-based format to kind of
Right.
bring a film to fruition that kind of was brought up through the group. So I started that in 2016. It was a script I had written that got made, and which I don't do anymore. I don't write any of the scripts anymore. I let the group write them, because I had a really hard time letting go of my script, and I was backseat directing the director the
Right.
whole time. So I felt a little bad about that, but I think it turned out okay. It was a lot of fun. It was a fun project to work on.
What film was that?
Wormholes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that turned out all right. And then the second year, we workshopped a bunch of scripts, and then we found one by Bob Zanheiser, who's also been on The Writing Life before. And it was a really fantastic script, so the group got really excited about that one. And that one was Do Unto Others last year. And that
Which I love.
yeah, I think that film was probably the best film so far of what we've done. I think the new one is good too. The East of a Dream, I think, works quite well too.
So I was going to ask you about that, but back to Do Unto
Yeah.
Others, I saw
Yeah.
Ken Moore in it.
Ken Moore.
Cameron Nye, who was my pilot.
Yes.
My pilot guest, or not, it wasn't really my pilot guest. He was my pilot
Yeah.
show. He was in it, and it was really well done. I was
Yeah.
very impressed and very surprised by
Yeah.
the twist that happened in
Oh,
the end.
good. Yeah,
I
no,
liked it.
I think everybody had a really good experience on that one, and I feel really good because everybody got to really work on a film that was successful and came together really well.
Right.
So,
And after watching it a few times, because I rewatched it before this interview,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that the ending scene was against this brick wall. I
Yes.
went, "Oh, I recognize that now," because
Yes.
I didn't recognize it the
well,
first time.
you use what you got,
That's
you know.
right. That's right. So the most recent film, what was the name of it again?
East of a Dream.
East of a Dream. That was submitted to the McMinnville Short Film Festival.
Yes, and it is premiering on the first opening night.
That's
So
wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. It was written by Mike,
Congratulations.
our director, Mike Santenay. Your director, Mike Santenay,
That's right.
wrote that one. So
That's right.
that's pretty awesome.
I unfortunately will be out of town, so
Oh.
I don't get to be there for the opening. But I'm really excited about being there on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'll be doing a block for the Native American films.
Oh, good.
And
Cool.
emceeing that, and then helping out throughout
Yeah,
the day.
no, it's
so
a neat event. It's a really neat event.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be a part of it. It's really great.
Yeah.
You do a lot of mentoring. You mentored, I mean, you've spent a lot of time working with me, working with Mike, getting him back into doing the soundboard and all, or the film board. I don't know what it's called
The
actually.
switcher.
The switcher, yeah.
The TriCaster.
TriCaster, that's it. You've done a lot of work just helping people be part of the community and be able to get their message out. So talk a little bit about that. And
Yeah, it's part of my duties here, but I enjoy facilitating. I basically look at it, I try to facilitate producers and give them the tools and the knowledge they need so that they can produce the shows that they'd like to produce.
right.
We try to not do everything for the producers here, because then people kind of just expect us to do things,
Right.
which is not our mission.
Right.
Our mission is to facilitate producers and give community opportunity in producing things here at the studio. So that's what I work with. I really try to make sure everybody has the tools and the knowledge and the techniques that they can be successful creating their productions.
And that's really important, because isn't the whole goal of MCM to provide local cable access to the community?
Absolutely, yeah.
And maybe you can talk a bit about that from a mission perspective of opening up, to people to do like I'm doing here with Arts Essential.
We're basically a nonprofit organization set up by the city of McMinnville to provide access to media and production equipment and airtime for the citizens of McMinnville, so that we're funded through cable franchise fees, and our basic mission is to allow people to give a voice and a platform for the McMinnville community to produce video productions. And we ourselves do actually cover a few things that happen in town. We do all the parades, and we oftentimes do any of the candidate forums, because it's really one of the few places you can actually go and see and hear the candidates that are running for local offices, especially specifically to the Yamhill County area. So that's real nice that we have this facility, and I think it's really exciting that the McMinnville community supports us so much. So I'd love to see more people come in and make more shows. Although, we have a booming studio show schedule, which is great. And there's only a few people actually using the checkout cameras to do more of a single camera style productions.
And that would be like, for instance, Carolyn O'Brien.
Yeah, Carolyn O'Brien does that.
She came down actually last weekend when we did an evening with Oregon writers at Mecca, and she filmed on her literary, which is quite a mouthful. You have to say it slowly and specific.
Yes.
But is that what you mean when you talk about out on the road?
Yes, remote kind of productions.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And I know Amanda Pawanka, who does Mandy and Friends, also takes her camera out and does things around town. She also does a studio show too. So,
right. I was actually on one of her shows.
Yeah.
She had me actually doing activities, running around,
yes, she's
doing
kind of
crazy
nuts.
things. She's awesome.
That's awesome.
And so basically, if this is non-sponsored by MCM, you can come in with any particular show idea.
As long as you can you can come in with any show idea, and especially if you're a McMinnville resident, you can come in with any show idea. If you have a crew, you can set up and do a studio show, because we don't provide crew, we don't resource that. We can direct people towards interested parties that might be interested in becoming crew members, and we just kind of give people a voice and a space to say it.
I love it. It's one of the things that makes McMinnville so special. We have a local newspaper, we have a local TV channel, and as long as, information is so important to us as a society.
Yes.
So I really thank you for that. Now I want to ask you about, real quick, about internships.
Yes.
You do internships here.
Well, we don't have necessarily an official internship program.
Right.
We have had several interns in the past. It's usually on a one-on-one basis.
Okay.
People will come in and are really interested in video and maybe seeing what it's like to work at a TV station, and we can have some interns, or an intern. Usually we have one at a time, and
is there a specific, if someone was interested and they really want to get into this kind of field, is there something specific that they would do if they wanted to come in, even if it was a non-paid internship?
But they're all unpaid.
They're all non-paid.
They're non-paid
internships. Well, there we go then.
Yes. They are non-paid internships.
They're non-paid internships.
They could talk to Jerry or the manager about an internship, or email us. at info@mcm11.org. That's my email, and I can direct them to who might be the pertinent person.
Okay.
And the other option, though, is to just come in and sign up and become a member.
Right.
Because it's super inexpensive and you get access to all of this.
Right.
So, and I'm here, and my job here basically is, like I said, is to facilitate producers. And with that membership, you get a camera class and an editing class. So I'll get you set up editing and set up with a camera so that you can start producing shows on a camera.
That's really great.
So yeah, and I'm generally here all the time. We're open to be available for questions, and I kind of do things on a one-on-one basis rather than have, I know a lot of community access places have classes, but it just works out better, I think, for the varying skill levels of people coming in, if I do a class on a kind of one-on-one basis to see where they're at and kind of help them along.
Well, that's what you did with us.
Yeah.
So that was so helpful.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, and this is my third show because of thanks to you and
Awesome.
to Mike, of course.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much, Phil, for the
Sure,
time.
anytime.
I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
This has been really exciting. Thank you.
Good.
So I want to do a few call outs at the end of the show here. If you've noticed my cool little red earrings, they are from Sugar Bling Sisters, and you can look them up on Facebook. Cindy Johnson is my friend who sells these, and I just love them. Just a little something to brighten up the face. It's very cool. I wanted to mention that if you have not already seen and gone to the keepitlocalmac.com page, I really encourage you to. They have wonderful events out there all around McMinnville, and now they've incorporated Newburgh, Sherwood, Willamina, and Amity, and I really recommend that you go to Keep It Local Mac and look up the events pages. I also wanted to let you know about the Art Alliance of Yamhill County. The annual members meeting is happening on February 24th at 6 p.m. It will be at Mecca. I forgot to mention it here on the bottom screen there, but it is at the Mecca Gallery at 636 Northeast Baker Street on the corner of Baker and 7th. And then also, Ten Oaks is doing such a wonderful job supporting our next generation of artists. They are doing a student exhibit that will be running till March 1st, 2020 for the Mac and Newburgh High Schools. This is all part of their Yamhill County High School program that they're doing to supporting the artists in our county. And then I will also mention to you that Mecca Gallery this Saturday night is having Jazz and Mac, one of our new programs that we've added to the gallery. It'll be this Saturday from 6 to 9 p.m., February 15th. We will have Ronnie Kay opening for the David Floratos Quartet, as well as Bit by a Fox Traveling Speakeasy will be there serving up cocktails. So we really look forward to seeing you. Lots of things going on around in the county. And thank you very much.